Hello! This is MaJeliv. We are the Vasquez family. Well, I'm Joshua, one of them, of the five. And today we're going to be watching Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's a very epic looking movie that we've got behind me. It's a very serious looking guy with a falcon, right? It looks really, really cool. And there's so much that is to be looked forward to. So much that this series has promised. We've seen Rise, Dawn, and War. And those movies were emotional roller coasters. And they were destroying, they were uplifting, they were hopeful, they were despairing. There was a lot of emotion and a lot of things that go on, and you don't really expect that from like just apes, but they are not just apes, they are human, and they were, advanced, and it's just such a fascinating story. And to see West Ball take this on is definitely something to be looked forward to. I'm looking forward to it, especially with the incentive of him possibly making The Legend of Zelda film, which I am a huge fan of Zelda. If you cannot tell already, you could probably see our Tears of the Kingdom reaction. It is such a beautiful franchise of video games, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going into this as a Zelda fan. If you're a Zelda fan, wait to see what a Zelda fan thinks of this film, and we're going to jump into it. And we were so happy to have you, and we'll see you after the movie.
All right, hey guys, so we just got out of the theaters and we decided to come to a park nearby to get to some more
proper setting.
Yeah, proper
Bro,
setting.
We're in the kingdom.
We're in the kingdom of the planet of, well,
The animals.
of the animals. Yeah, right now the birds, not the
Yeah.
apes. That'd be a lot. We're gonna get into kind of spoiler free first, kind of give our initial thoughts, and then we can get into some spoilers towards the end with our parents, as we usually do. I thank you for joining us. And yeah, we're ready to jump on in. This movie was incredible. I mean, and what are you feeling right now? What are like some words to describe what you're feeling?
In awe, satisfied, amazed, impressed,
Yeah.
Impressed.
and blown away.
Speechless, honestly. I was at the end. I just felt speechless.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, this is again Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, directed by West Ball. This story is definitely, I think, kind of kickstart another trilogy for the entire franchise. It's so great. Obviously we've known the Matt Reeves trilogy, Rise, Dawn, and then War, which was great story in itself. And the way that they kicked this off and really tied, there's a thread that connects all of them, and that is Caesar. And so whether you've seen the others or not, you can still get into this and appreciate it and learn it, because it is, again, a new story, but it is heavily tied to what we've seen in the past. So
Because even if you have seen this one first, then you can go back and you're like, oh, this is the backstory to what I saw in Kingdom. So that it works out.
I appreciated the context they give you.
yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. So again, it was really great. The world building, West Ball, we've seen some of his work, really only my dad and I, with The Maze Runner and Scorch Trials. We've seen some of his concept work for like the Mouse Guard, and again, little things here and there, but still very new to his work. And man, he is exceptional at world building and having us care for these characters that we've gotten to know now. And this definitely feels like, this is a story in itself, but it truly feels like act one of a much bigger arc, which is very exciting to see where these characters evolve and grow. Immediately, Jem, I mean, I know you talked about how like the apes, the
technology blew me away.
Yeah.
Like absolutely blew me away. Obviously you've seen in like the posters or the visuals of apes being on horses, but also just the characteristics of like how they move. It's so lifelike. It's almost creepy watching it. To think that these animals have such human emotions and stuff, and it blew my mind. It was insane.
Truly insane. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, bro, I mean, how yeah, I know you talked about the first act just kind of blowing your mind, or
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's such a, and I was telling the family about how it's one of those things where I didn't know what was going to happen next. It was very unexpected where it was all going, and we were so close to the main character that you really follow him along in this journey, and you don't know exactly what's going to happen, and so that's a very, edge of your seat experience. And on top of that, the music was perfectly timed in many moments. A lot of things to heighten what was going on emotionally for a lot of these characters, the wonder, the tension, moments with no music, moments with music. It wasn't too overpowering. It was like accompanying the different events. I mean, and of course there's some like spoilers, but certain characters, certain feelings, certain experiences, they each like went along with a theme, and it really accompanied the experience that the movie is. And then just for the Zelda fans, I had mentioned this in the beginning, there's a lot of things that tie into Zelda, a lot of you could say mechanics, but a lot of movements, a lot of emotions as well, a lot of story elements that tie into the story elements of Zelda, and it shows that the emotions will deliver and the action sequences will not let us down. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And so just to see Link venture into dungeons and to save Hyrule from
That visual
from
storytelling
distress.
is going to be awesome.
Yeah, so it's all a lot to be hopeful for, and just
Yeah.
it's great.
I mean, I know to add on to that, I was talking to Dad after, and with Zelda, I think what West Ball is really great at is, again, world building and really leaning into what the story needs. And so that's what's exciting, I think, when you think about him doing Zelda, is he cannoned into that. And specifically, there were certain moments that were a lot more intimate and little things that these characters did that just made it feel that much more real and like you were there with them. And, he's mentioned West Ball about his live-action Zelda film, that it would be like a live-action Miyazaki. And so, Miyazaki films, they have those moments that are sometimes just the camera picking up a very real-life moment, not just moving the story along. Like a character going up the stairs and passing by an old lady and just them kind of bumping in.
You get that here.
Right, you get that
definitely
here.
get
Those
that
little
here.
moments that you're like, oh wow, the camera's still rolling, we're still picking this up. So that's, again, very, very exciting on that front.
Hence why it feels unexpected, because sometimes some shots go for longer, for shorter. Things happen suddenly, some things are prolonged, and you feel this tension building, and it's all because everything is so intricate and so detailed that you don't know when things are going to pick up, when it's going to stop, and it's a beautiful vehicle for storytelling.
And it was a fresh experience, I would say. I think we got to see things in theaters that we've never really seen before, or at least in like a new way, which I think is always such a great thing. Not just doing something new for the sake of doing something new, but because that's where the story's going. And it's great. It's great. So, anything else before we pass it over to the parents, or?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I know I was feeling that too, the whole Zelda thing. Just to see the way he creates worlds and just the way that he immerses you in it. You definitely get that, and you feel like you're in it. So every time something happens, you're just invested, you're engaged. Like, you definitely, I didn't lose attention, at all. I was like, I don't want this movie to be over. Like, how much is left? Like, there's so much that happens too, it's amazing. He spent his time on it, which doesn't happen very often in movies recently. But I appreciate the time that he truly gave it. So
I could agree to that. I think it feels like he had creative liberties, and just seems like there's a lot of creative unity. Like, everyone was just on board, collaborative. I think that's a better word, to get this story going. So yeah, very, very exciting, and I think definitely you see this on the biggest screen possible. Like, this is definitely something that's worth it.
Yes.
So yeah, anyway, we're gonna jump into spoilers now. So we're gonna bring our parents in. They're gonna dive a little bit deeper into maybe some character story moments, maybe themes that stood out. And so if you haven't seen the movie yet, definitely come back and watch the second part once you've seen it. But if you have, spoilers start now.
Okay, so it's our turn now to share our immediate. It's absolutely breathtaking. That's what I'm going to say right off the bat.
That's
it's
your word
breathtaking.
for the movie?
Breathtaking, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it was very moving. The way that the director took his time with getting in those close-ups and the eye expressions, and in no moment was I thinking, oh, I'm looking at this weird, CGI image. It just felt so real. And it was so beautifully patient in the way that they would shoot these moments. I love the scene where I forget the name at the end, when one of the three of them is like, I'm scared.
Anaya.
When Anaya turns around and he says, I'm scared, and you see him with so much bravery, and he's so on it at the beginning of the movie, and then you see this shift in him.
The brokenness, yeah.
That was beautiful. And the connection between the three of them, they were able to explain how their tribe worked and what they stood for. And I thought that was, for me, my favorite was seeing the emotion when the father dies.
Yeah.
And seeing the emotion of you know, Anaya and that moment and their union between friends, and also the mom's reunion with her son was just beautiful. I had memories of maybe Avatar, the world, like when you're up high looking down, and some of those structures. It reminded me of Last of Us, you know, that world of apocalyptic, like, you know, people have been gone and there's been a lot happening. And I love how they connected it. Like, we went right from Caesar's funeral, like, you know, through what we saw in this movie. So that for me was my favorite. I'm going to continue to relive a lot of these moments and probably be digesting this movie for a while, but it is up there. It is a breath of fresh air. I'm so thankful that we have this film to come see. I almost convinced the family to go to like a regular theater. I'm so thankful we went to this
big screen,
because it definitely was created for that. So I loved it. The story, everything the kids said, I just second it, and that's it. I just loved it. Masterpiece.
Absolutely. And I think any masterpiece requires an absolute beautiful performance by the cast, and flawless, absolutely flawless. This whole ensemble was powerfully present for each other. They did not hold back. And I think they trusted the director. It feels like, you know, they trusted themselves to the point of making us feel that these apes are us. You know, I saw myself in Noah. I saw myself in his struggle from going in, from the simplicity of, you know, we open with him trying to capture this egg, and the role of eagles in their tribe is so spiritually beautiful, because it's a bond of family, it's a bond of status and honor, but it's beyond that. You know, it's a sign of confidence, and it's a sign of respect for nature, and to see Noah go on that journey where his egg literally gets destroyed by May at the very, very beginning, when she's this like super creepy crawler, if you will, in their tent.
Yeah.
And then they literally collide and she destroys his egg. That kickstarts everything. It creates an avalanche of events that take his world and literally puts it into flames, and he comes tumbling down and has to become something greater out of the ashes. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. He has to rise out of the ashes, kind of like a phoenix, hey, no pun intended, and he has to learn to fly on his own. But before he can fly, he has to ride, and he rides on a horse, and he runs into this like Obi-Wan Kenobi / Rafiki character in Raqqa, and it's knowledge, and it's learning the truth about who Caesar was, and learning the truth about what the law of the land should be for apes, right? Yeah. So he becomes enlightened, and we follow his journey. But like my bride was pointing out, the beautiful moments of when he lost his father, you know, you look at the performance of the actors, and these apes feel there's a humanness in their eyes, and the technology has gotten so advanced. And I used to be intimidated by it, but when I know that there's an actor behind all that technology bringing this character to life, as an actor myself, it's encouraging, and I want to be able to do this someday, to be able to tell these kinds of very human experiences, this life experience through a story like this. Is, I mean, it's worth your trip to the movies. You need to go see this, experience it. I was brought to tears in that moment when he was reunited with his mom. I thought, like him, the way it's shot, that moment when he asks Sonai, or Sonai? Anyway, forgive me. I'll correct myself. Maybe we put the text on here of what her actual name is. But it's a moment where I thought, like Noah, that his mom was gone, that she had passed. Yeah. But then when we see with him, we see with Noah that she's not, and that she is alive, and they reunite, like you said. It is a beautiful moment, and the camera doesn't shy away from them. It stays there, and we receive it, and it just brought me to tears. It's absolutely beautiful. But everything else the kid says, you know, you're going to see the world being shown to us through this flight of the eagles, which reminded me a lot of the Mouse Guard kind of demo that is out there in the YouTube world. And so to see Wes Ball put this together, to see this story come to pass, and then that final moment when May comes back to the village as it's being rebuilt, and we see behind her she's holding the revolver. I'm still left wondering, was she going there to kill him, or was she going there to say goodbye but she was worried he might kill her for what she did.
Yeah, I think she was afraid of what he might do to her, so she was ready to defend herself. I'm going to take it as that.
Yeah, and I think that's what I love, that it's kind of interpretive, but I'm leaning toward that as well. And it makes a comment on, will these two species find a way to coexist? That's a great question to ask at the beginning of hopefully a new franchise that gets kicked off, because right now, as long as if it's the same team going forward, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. So we loved it. 10 out of 10 for me.
I know. I can't wait for what's to come for that. I hope they do create more.
Yeah, me too.
Because, whoa, like that's a movie. We were talking last week about what are movies you would go to the theater to see again. And it was hard for me to think about one lately. Mm-hmm. This is one I would go see again.
Yeah, because there's so much more to unpack.
I know. We were just talking about that. And this is definitely
one final moment.
Watch againer.
One thing I would love to rewatch is there's a moment with a telescope, right?
Oh, yes.
Where Noah encounters a telescope. And then the only connection he can make to what he calls an echo or a human is, and this is May, we find out later her name is May, is that she does the same thing he did when he first looked into the viewfinder of the telescope. And that silent connection was beautiful in and of itself. But then toward the end of the movie, he takes Sonai. Gosh, I'm gonna. It's bothering me. I can't remember her name. You could tell he has an affection toward her, and it's kind of like a date. It's like a final closeout where you see that there's a bond happening, and he takes her to see this telescope. Those moments, they're so patiently well done. I mean, it just
when he's looking at the planets hanging in the mobile.
Yeah, he's studying what he saw.
Office.
So I want to go back. I would love to rewatch it. This is a rewatchable movie.
Yes,
absolutely.
It is.
And we hope you go watch it and rewatch it.
And there's so many things to reflect on, and that's what I love about it when we watch it as a family, and then we can go and like talk to and connect about different moments. There's nothing like it. Mm-hmm. So thank you guys. I think
thank you for tuning in today with us. We're gonna let the kids close it out. But thank you. We look forward to your comments and. See you next time at the movies.
All right, so those were our thoughts on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, spoiler-free and spoiler. We definitely want to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. So meet us down there. Let us know what you thought of this movie, what Planet of the Apes, the whole franchise, means to you. If you're a fan of the old movies as well as these new ones, just let us know how you're feeling about this and what you felt about Wes Ball's direction with this with this movie. We definitely love to hear from all of you.
Yes, please.
And besides that, you guys go out there, spread your light, and we'll see you guys in the next MaJeliv video. Have a MaJeliv day. Bye.